Yeah, it'd be nice to hear me. Okay, we're going to warm up since we're looking for, percentiles with test score data. We followed a procedure. We're going to warm up this morning and have you guys find P50, P40, P60, and P18. And we're going to have you look at the group data. So we'll give you guys some time, and we'll see how that goes, okay? So let's get out the clock. Where are you, clock? And let's get these here going. Okay, we'll try to scroll in. All right, so did anybody get any answers for these here? What'd you guys get for P50, by the way? You got 90? Okay, I'm going to say you guys got 90 for this answer right in here. Is that right? What'd you get for P40? Huh? 20? Anybody else? What'd you get for P40? Okay. What'd you get for P60? What'd you get for P18? Okay, let's verify this, ladies and gentlemen, because is this going to be on your next test? Yes. So when should you get started on your homework? Yesterday. Okay, so for P50, the first one, remember, you have to go with your recipe. So you say, what's your recipe? Well, step one, you need the locator. And if you have trouble with the definition or the formula, really, you should do what? Write it down every time you use it. 50 goes here, is that right? So 50 over 100. What's the sample size from yesterday? That's 48, and I'm going to keep it blue. All righty, 48, good. So you know what 50 over 100 times 48 is by any chance? Yeah, it's going to be 24. So let's clear this out. We'll put it in 50 divided by 100 times what number? 48. And sure enough, yes, you get what? 24. So here's what you guys want to remember. Is this a decimal or is this a whole number? A whole number. Good. When it's a nice whole number, how do we get your answer? Step 2 is the answer step. Right? So how do you get the answer now? You're going to say what? P50 is midway between the what? The 24th and the what? 25th data value in the sorted list. So if you remember what I was doing is I was showing you guys this. What's the 24th data value? 90? Okay. What's the 25th? The next one. 90. Okay. So when it's a whole number, you need the 24th and the next one. Is that right? So this is what I'm saying here. You guys need those two. Okay. So what is midway between 90 and 90? Anybody know? 90. Good job. So ladies and gentlemen, what did you just find? The 50th percentile. Okay? That's the procedure. So you guys were correct. It was 90. Now, what does that actually mean? Do you guys remember what this means by definition? What does it really mean? Anybody know? What does that mean? It's not just finding a number. You got to know what it means because you got to use it. What's the meaning of P50? Yes. 50% of the data is less than what? 90. Half the data is less than what? 90. That's the meaning of what you're doing. That's important. All right. So what's the next one going to be now, ladies and gentlemen? These are percentiles, right? P40. We're going to do this again now. Okay. So your locator is going to be K over 100 times N. Every time you use your formula, write it down. K is 40. 100 times 48. Let's see what we get for the locator. Okay. So again, you're going to put what? 40 divided by 100 times 48. What's that going to give you? 19 point what? 19.2, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what do you think I'm going to say here? This is a what? Decimal. Good. When it's a decimal, what do? You round up to the next whole number. What's the next whole number after 19? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is your what? Locator. You guys okay with that? So you're going to have to go to what data value now? 20. Okay, what do you guys see there? What's in the 20th position? 85. That means your answer is what? 85, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, 40% of the data is what? Is less than 85. That's what that means, okay? So it's not just, hey, get some numbers here. You want to know what that means? 40% of that data is less than 85. All right, was that what you guys told me? No. Okay, so if the test was today, uh-oh. Let's see if you guys were right with P60. Let's try the procedure now with what? P60. Here we go. Al's going to be K over 100 times N. Okay. So 60 over 100 times what number? Times 48. Okay, I apologize. Okay. Let's see what that is going to be. 60 divided by 100 times 48. And what is this? 28.8? Is that true? Okay. What are you looking at? This is a what? Decimal. What do you do when it's a decimal? You round how? Up to the next whole number. What's the next whole number? 29. So you're going to have to look for now the 29th what? Data value in the sorted list. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So what is the 29th data value in the sorted list? Do you guys know? What is it? Is it 100? Do you guys see that there? All righty. So, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, P60 is 100. So, what does that mean again? 60% of the data is what? Is less than 100. Okay. So were you guys correct on that one? Yes. Good job. So you had the 90, you got the 100. Good. Now we got to do P18. Is that true? P18. So let's go through the procedure. K over what? 100 times N. So Al's going to be 18 over 100 times 48. Is that true? Okay. 18 divided by 100. Close that. Times 48. What do you guys end up with? This is 8 point what? 8.64? Is that what you guys see? Okay. So what does this mean? What are you looking at? What do you do with that? You round how? Up to the next whole what? So you just have to look for now what data value in the sorted list. You just have to look for the what? The 9th data value in the sorted list. What is the 9th data value? What is it? Do you guys see it there? So this is equal to what? 35. Now, what does this mean again? 18% of the data is less than what? 35, okay? So what you guys have found is percentiles, and that's important. Okay, you guys go with that? That's a big deal. That's important. So this is how we find percentiles. Now, we have another system, so don't panic. We're going to talk about, today, we're really going to talk about quartiles and deciles. But you already really know what they are, okay? Quartiles and what? Deciles. So that's what we want to talk about today. But what I'm going to say to you guys, quartiles, when you're working with what's called quartiles, that's when you partition data into 4 groups. Okay? Quartiles are when you partition data into how many groups? 4 groups. When you think of quartiles, think of the word what? Quarters. Good. That's what I do. So this is simple for me because I say, percentiles is when you partition your data into what? 100 groups. You guys see what I'm saying? P1, P2, P3, all the way to P99. That really partitions your data into 100 groups. But you're going to partition your data now into quartiles. That means quarters. So let me give you guys the definition of what's called the first quartile. Okay? We put Q1. You know what that is? 1 quarter has 25 what? Pennies. So if you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you know how many pennies are in a quarter, how many pennies are in a quarter? Then you know what a quartile is. That's your first quartile. It's P25. See what I mean? I told you already know. Money helps your accuracy with arithmetic and mathematics tremendously. Okay? Another definition. We have the what? Second quartile. Okay? This is Q2. In 2 quarters, how many pennies do you have? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the what? Second quartile. It's the 50th what? Percentile. This is a definition. This is how you define it. Okay? You don't question definitions. You guys know that? It's like if I said, "Hey, what's your name?" You said, "Sally." I said, "No, you look more like Nancy." I can't change your name. I can't change the label you were given. This is a third what? Third quartile. This is Q what? 3. And what does that equal? How many quarters do you have when there's 3. I'm sorry. How many pennies do you have with 3 quarters? How many? So this is the definition of all these things. These are what we call quartiles, okay? And you're partitioning your data into now what? 4 groups. You say, what do you mean? Yeah. Let me see. Let me draw a picture. So, you have a real number line, by the way. And right in the middle, you got Q2. To the left, you have Q1. And to the right, you have Q what? 3. So here's my point to you. Okay? This is how you partition data. There's how many groups here? You may not believe it, but there's 1. What else? 2. What else? 3. What else? 4 groups. So 3 numbers gives you 4 groups. You're partitioning your data really into what we call quartiles. Now, don't forget the definition. In the middle here, this is P what? P50. What is the first quartile? P25. What's the third one? P75. So 25% of the data is here. 25% of the data is here. 25% of the data is here. 25% of the data is there. This is what we mean by quarters, okay, using those definitions. So, for example, remember the test score data? All those examples we worked with? I claim you guys know all the quartile values. I make that claim. You guys know the quartile values. So go back and let's see if you guys remember any of these here. What did we just find here? What's P50? Is that 90? I'm going to copy that. So what do you guys think for the test score data? What is that? Q2. So you have what? The second quartile. It's 90, ladies and gentlemen. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Do you have the first quartile value in your notes anywhere? Check your notes. Oh, what's this? You had P75, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to copy that. Why do I care about P75? It's the third quartile. Outstanding. Look at that. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, don't panic because you already know these values. Do you guys have the first quartile? Where is it? What's P25? Oh, there we go. Isn't it in your notes? Say yes. Look at that. I already knew what to ask you. I was really secretly asking you not just percentiles, but also what? These quartiles. Okay, you guys okay with that? So what I want to remark and say to you guys is a few things here. If you were to plot this on the real number line, because remember, this is 4 groups. 52.5, 90, 115. Okay? Q1, Q2, Q3. You partitioned your data into how many groups? 4 groups. And that was the test score data. Okay? 25% of the data is where? To the left of 52.5. And 50% is to the left of Q2. But I want to say between these two, you have what again? 25% of the data. Does that make any sense? Okay. What about between Q2 and Q3? You have what again? 25%. And then what? 25% here. This is partitioning your data into what we call what? Quartiles or quartile value. A very, very important system because it's people, because of the 25, 25, 25 situation. Okay, easier to read, I guess. Easier to think about. Okay, now I'm going to give you guys some definitions here. So you're going to care about these definitions here. So once you have quartiles, we have something called the interquartile range. And it's abbreviated IQR because it's interquartile range. That is equal to Q3 minus Q1. Okay? So, for example, with the data, test score data, right? This test score data, the sheet we have, what would the interquartile range be here? You take what? 115 and you subtract 52.5. Your interquartile range, you're using your definition here. So what do you get? What do you get when you do that? 115 minus 52 point what? 5. What do you guys end up getting? What's the interquartile range? Is that 62.5? All right, definitions. You guys want to write down your definitions because they can ask you these questions, right? Another definition. The mid-quartile range. Okay? And that's abbreviated MQR. Okay? And that's really the midpoint of the quartiles. You know, midpoint for quartiles. So if you add Q1 and Q3, divide by 2, you're going to get the mid-quartile range. So you say, what's Q1? Well, it's 52.5. Is that right? You say, how do I know? Because we plotted this here. So we're going to take the what? 52.5. We're going to add it with 115. We're going to divide by 2. Let's find the mid-quartile range. Oops. I like to use a parenthesis, sorry. 52.5 plus 115 in parentheses divided by 2. Think of like midpoint here. And what do you guys end up getting when you find that mid-quartile range? What's this going to be? Yeah, don't approximate it. It's 83.75 here. Okay? interquartile range, the mid-quartile range. And these are used to just help describe the distribution. We'll see that later. Definition of the semi-quartile range. And the semi-quartile range, we abbreviate that SQR. Well, that's half of the mid-quartile range. So if I know the mid-quartile range, well, then I take that number 83.75 and I divide by what? By 2. So you get this 83.75 divided by what? 2. And what do you get? 41.86. All for these quartiles, ladies and gentlemen, these definitions. And then a couple more, that's all. Definition. They call this the P90, P10 range. What do you think that is? The P90, P10 range, ladies and gentlemen, is when you actually subtract P90 and P10. So do you guys have P90 by any chance? Say yes. Do you guys have P10? Say yes. Okay, what are they? We got to look for them in our notes where it's P90. Ooh. P90, P10. Look at that. We got all the way back to, there we go. There's P90. What's P90? Okay, so we're going to use that number, 140. And what was P10, by the way? Is that 15? All right, 15. What's 140 minus 15? Well, we'll see. 140 minus 15, what do we get? 125, is that right? Okay. All right. Okay, another definition of the 5-number summary. Okay, the 5-number summary. This is a definition. Does anybody happen to know what that definition is? Okay, there's 5 numbers. So for every data, the minimum value, Q1, Q2, Q3, and the maximum value. Okay? So min, and I guess I was using orange for the quartile, so I'll stick with that. Let's bring out pink, pretty in pink. What do you guys think? Okay, we'll use pink for the minimum, Q1, Q2, Q3, and max. Okay, so for example, the test score data, can you guys give me the 5-number summary? For test score data, give me the 5-number summary. What do you think that is? What's the minimum going to be? 5-number summary. This is test score data. Do you guys know what the minimum value is for the test score data? Go back to the list. What is it? 0. What's the maximum value? 150? Okay. Did you find any quartiles for that test score data? What were they? What are your quartiles? Aren't they still here? 52.5. What else? 90. What else? 115. So you're going to write down what? 52.5, 90, 115. So let me get out our colors so you guys can see that. Pretty in pink, orange, and then green. What is this called? The 5 number what? Summary. Nice. Okay, I'm going to give you guys an example here. You're going to like this here. Did I explain? Did we talk about lifespans, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, did I mention lifespan to you guys, or was it the other class? All right. Do you guys know what a lifespan is by any chance? A lifespan is really the age. Well, if you're talking about the lifespan of a human being, it's the age of that human being when they die. Okay? So in order to gather data for lifespans, how long you live, you have to what? Die. Does that make sense? Okay. So believe it or not, every state has a lifespan for its population. And it's different. It's not the same. You think it's the same. It's not. So some states are better than others in terms of the lifespan. You'll live longer, really depending on the state you live in. Is that insane? Do you guys know what's the worst state to live in terms of lifespan? Well, you got to first of all know what a state is. So what's the worst state to live in, do you guys know, in terms of lifespan? You may not know. I think I have it somewhere in my notes, and I don't want to dig it up because there's a website I got some data from. I thought that was interesting. I think it's, no, it's in the South. I think it's Alabama. It's Alabama, I believe. I think what typically happens is both Mississippi and Alabama compete for the worst lifespan in the U.S. So you might say, why? What's so special about Alabama and Mississippi? Well, they're in the South. And what's the deal about that region? Probably some of the best food you can have in your life. You guys know what I mean? Okay, but it impacts your what? Lifespan. All right. What's one of the best states to live in terms of lifespan? Hawaii. Okay? So just to kind of let you guys know, human beings have a lifespan. Even different ethnic groups have a lifespan. And it's not the same. So depending on the ethnic group you live in, you might have a different lifespan. Okay? You say, what is that? Well, it's the length of time you'll live. What else? Different countries in the world. It has to be a different country. Some countries have a very high lifespan. In particular, I'm thinking, Japan, but not really. There's a region in Japan. Anybody know what that region is? It's Okinawa. Okinawans live pretty what? Long, okay? They're the winners of the world in terms of lifespan. And then people study Okinawans. They say, why do they live so long? Well, there's factors, there's reasons. It's the food they eat. Their culture is a factor, believe it or not. They're very active. They're very supportive of one another, very communal living. That's why I say culture is a factor. What they eat. The Japanese sweet potato is a very healthy thing to eat. That's the yam, the purple one, that's very healthy for them. That's their staple. They eat that every day. It's It's delicious, ladies and gentlemen. If you've never had it, I love it. And then probably genetics. Probably also lack of pollution, all those little details. So they all add up. So anyway, here's an example of lifespan. I'm going to gather some data. And this is in the US. 85, 70, 72, 65, 61, 38, 94, okay, 92, 68, 78, 70, 65, 98, and then 100 here. Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to ask you guys to do. I'm going to say determine the 5 number what? Summary. If you're going to do that, what do you think you have to do? You're going to have to know the definition. Do you guys know the definition of the 5 number summary? Say yes. What is it? Minimum. Q1, Q2, and Q3. And then what? So you're going to have to use the definition to get the 5 number summary. This is kind of like what you'd have to do on your homework. All right. You guys okay with that? All right. Are you guys ready? Let me share with you guys something interesting. This is going to be easy. Did you guys bring your calculator today? Oh, good. All right. I'm going to say to you guys, enter this data. How do you enter data in L1? You go to Stat, Edit. Oh, we're going to have to clear this out. Clear. Let's enter all of this data. Let's enter the what? The lifespan data. This is your data, okay? So, all right, we're going to enter what? 85, we hit enter. 70, we hit what? Enter. What's the next data value? 72, 65, 61. You guys okay with that one? 38. What else? 94, 92, 68. Oops, not 4. 78. Is that right? 70, 65, 98, followed by the number what? 100. Okay? So did you guys enter this data by any chance into L1? Okay? You guys with me? Now, you say, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to say to you guys, go to Stat again, but this time go to Calculate. Remember when I asked you guys how to get the mean, variance, and standard deviation? Do you guys remember that? That was on test 1. It's going to be on test 2. You're going to hit calculate one variable stats. Yes, for L1. So you're going to have that again, but I'm going to challenge you guys to take a closer look. A real close look. Does anybody see? I'm going to scroll down. Anything very interesting here? What's so interesting about what you guys see here? I know. Let me get out my colors. You guys can't see what I'm doing here, but Pretty in Pink. Do you guys like that movie, Pretty in Pink? Good. Nobody likes that movie, Pretty in Pink? Who likes Pretty in Pink? You guys probably don't even know what that is. Good. What's the minimum value? Does that calculator give me a minimum? Say yes. What's the minimum? 38? Do you guys see the 38 there? Okay, what's below 38? Q1. What do you think that stands for? First quartile. And then what is that med again? That's the median value? Ladies and gentlemen, you guys know the median value is also the second quartile? So the second quartile is what? 71. And then what do you guys see? The third quartile is what? 92. And then the max is what? 100. Oh my God. Jesus. So I'm going to bring it pretty in pink. I'm going to bring out all your colors even. Hopefully you can see that better. What did you guys just find, by the way? The 5-number what? Summary. Okay, we're going to get to use this information too, not today, but you get the 5-number summary. What do you guys think? Easy peasy lemon squeezy? Are you going to get to learn and know your calculator? You guys know what I'm saying? So what did I always say? What's the hardest part of statistics? Don't tell me it's the math, because you get to use a calculator. It's language and what? Process. Oh, man. 5-number summary, ladies and gentlemen. What's your interquartile range? 92 minus 65. What's your mid-quartile range, ladies and gentlemen? 92 plus 65 divided by 2. What's the semi-quartile range? Well, we need to know what? The mid-quartile range first. So let's go to our calculator. I'm going to say, calculator, get out of this fancy mode, even though we got impressed. We got other work to do. So, you quit, and then you say, okay, 92 minus 65. What do you guys get? It's 27. Good. Now do the what? 92 plus 65. And actually do that if you can in parentheses, right? 92 plus 65 or 65 plus 92 divided by 2. It's like the midpoint of the quartiles. And what do you get? 78.5. Don't forget to take the 78.5 and divide by 2 to get the semi-quartile range. And that's going to be 39 point what? 25. Okay? So we can do some analysis if they ask us for these things. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. This is how we use the definitions, entering the data, get the 5-number summary. You get to answer these questions. Okay? You guys okay with that? All right. Let me also mention something to you. We also said, and it's very easy, this is just something called what? Deciles. We don't have much in the terms of deciles. That's when you partition your data into a group of 10. Think of what? Partition data into what? Groups of what? 10. Okay? And then you say, well, what do you mean? Think of, what's the word? Dimes. Dimes, ladies and gentlemen. So, by definition, you have something called D1. You guys know what that's really known as? That's the first decile. So maybe you want the words as well. They say the first what? Decile. How many pennies are in one dime? So the definition is P10, ladies and gentlemen. It's the number of pennies in a dime, okay? How many pennies are in 2 dimes? 20. What do you think we call this? The second what? Decile. And in fact, you could go all the way down to what? You got D3, D4, D5. How many pennies are in each? P30, P40, P50. Go down to what? D6, D7, D8, D9. There is no D10. But if you can find percentiles, then you can find what? Deciles. How many pennies are in 9 dimes? 90. Okay? So yesterday, we worked on everything on the right. Is that right? You guys know what I'm saying? So if I went back to everything we worked on yesterday, I already know some of these values. What do I know? What is P60? That's D6, ladies and gentlemen. So D6 is what number? 100. If you can find percentiles, you can find what? Deciles. P40, what is this? What is this, ladies and gentlemen? D4 is what? 85. If you can find percentiles, you can find deciles, D4. D5 is really what? This is P50 is D5. So I was already sneaking in these questions. This is not, P75 is not a decile. Do we have anywhere? Oh, look at that. Do we have another decile? We sure do. D9 is what? 140. P10, what's this? D1 by definition is P10, so D1 is what? 15. So we got the first decile is 15 here. This is for the test score data. So ladies and gentlemen, I was sneaking in yesterday really asking you very specific questions about percentiles because I knew today I'll give you the definition of deciles and what? And quartiles. Okay, so I snuck it in like vegetables. If you have kids, sometimes you know you have to do some what? Some sneaking in of the vegetables. Now, let's go back to the lifespan data. Let's check to see if you guys can do this. Okay, I'm going to say to you guys, determine for the lifespan data. Why don't you determine D2? And we'll give you guys another one, maybe D7, just for fun. Okay? Couple of them. Where do you guys think you start? What's the definition of D2? Good. If you're going to ask somebody, get the second decile, guess what you have to do? You got to know percentiles. And so now this is a percentile question. Okay, how do you guys answer percentile questions? What's the locator? 20 over 100 times, what's the sample size? Is it 48? No. How many data values are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, what? 14. You guys okay with that? Is that true? Okay. So let's find out what that is. So be careful. 20 divided by 100. This is homework questions. Times 14. What is this? Anybody want to tell me? Yes, what does L equal? L, ladies and gentlemen, is 2.8. What do we know about 2.8? It's a what? Is that a decimal? What do you do when it's a decimal? You round up to the next whole number. This is now what? 3. Is that right? So does anybody know, what do I need to do now if I know the locator value? What do I have to do? We talked about this yesterday. You got to look at your sorted data. What's the problem? Your data's not sorted. Yes. When are you going to get to your homework? The night before a test? What do you do the night before? You actually sleep, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to break the news to you. All right, you're going to go where? You're going to sort your data. Is that right? Stat? What are you going to go down to? Sort. And what are you sorting? L1. So you hit second one, close it. And guess what? You just sorted. So what do you guys do now? You got to go back to the list because now it's sorted. How do I get to the list? Stat, edit, edit. And now take a very close look. I've sorted my data. Is that right? What's the locator number? So what do? Go down to what? 3. Is that true? So ladies and gentlemen, what does this tell me? 65. In other words, D2 is what? 65. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, we did this yesterday and today. That's what you have to do. In fact, we also have to do D7. Is that right? Okay. So what would you do for D7 now? L is what? Or I'm sorry, we got to do D7. How do you start again? What's the definition? D7 is P what? P70. Good. We need a locator. 70 over 100 times. What's the sample size again? 14. We'll see what L is. Okay. Scroll out. 70 divided by 100 times what? 14. What do you guys get? What is this? This is a what again? Is that number 9.8 a decimal? Say yes. What do you do when it's a decimal? Round up to the next what? Whole number. What is that going to be? Is that going to be 10? Outstanding, ladies and gentlemen. Did I already sort my data? I did, didn't I? What do I have to do? Go to Stat, Edit, Edit. And what do I scroll down now to? Number 10? that right? So what's the 10th data value in the sorted list? What is it? So what is the answer to D2? Or sorry, not D2, D7. What's the answer to D7? It equals what? 85. What do you guys think? Easy peasy lemon squeezy? Should we give you another one? How about D? Should we do D4 and D9? Let's do D4 and D9. Okay. We need the definition of D4. What's the definition of D4? It's the 40th what? Percentile. So my locator will be 40 over 100. What's the sample size? 14. Okay. $40 divided by 100 times what number? 14. What do you guys get? What do you guys know about 5.6? Is that a decimal? Okay, what do you do when it's a decimal? Round up to the next whole number. So what do I have to look for now? The 6th data value in the sorted list. This is going to give me D4. My list is already sorted. How do I get to it? Stat, edit, edit. And then scroll down to what number? Scroll down to 6. And what do you guys get? It is 70. Oh my gosh. What's next? D9? Okay. What's the definition of D9? It's P what? P90. What's my locator? 90 over 100 times what's the sample size again? 14. Ladies and gentlemen, is that true? Okay. $90 divided by what number? 100. Close that times what? What does this equal? The locator is 12.6. What do I know about this number? It's a what? What do you do when it's a decimal? Round up to the next whole number. What does L stand for? It's your locator. What does the locator do? It locates your what? Your answer. Is that right? So D9 is the 13th data value in the what? Sorted list. How do we get to that list? Stat, edit, what? Edit. We got to go down to what number? 13. Okay, what is number 13? Is that 98? So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys think? Are you better able, because if I go back here to the website, and I got to scroll out. Remember this, we're going to this website here, and this is relative position. So, notice this. Statistics Lecture 4, this worksheet is about everything we've been talking about. Q3, P85, P56. They give you data. You guys know what I mean? Find Q1, find Q3. You know, I might even make another worksheet, by the way. I got to figure out, maybe I already have. It might even be there. But my point is, you should be able to do them what? All now. Not just 1 through blah, 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 blah. You should be able to do what? all of them, and I might make another worksheet just for you guys. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? All right, good for you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, stick by Canvas, because that's how I communicate, is via what? Canvas. Is that on your phone? Does everybody notice that sometimes when you canvas me in an inbox in the middle of the night, I respond? You go, oh my God, that Mr. Judge, what's he up to? He's just waiting for your what? For your message. No, if I can't sleep and I get a drink of water, I notice, oh, somebody has a question. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, stick by Canvas. I'll send you an announcement, if I send you guys anything. So take care. When do you want to do your homework? Yesterday. See you guys later.